Alright everyone, today we start off talking about the Wii Spa place. It's a Koreatown spa and it's the center of a controversy right now. Well, really the controversy is 99% of the population realizes the situation's fucked up, and then you have the Leftoids shrieking about fascism. So I'll get into actually what happened at this spa. First and foremost, down below, if you're watching this video on YouTube, there will be a pinned comment with links to 4 other video hosting sites that I use. Keep in mind, 4 videos a day, only 2 of which end up on YouTube, because it's become ScrewTube in that it screws independent content creators by making a lot of topics verboten. Not allowed to air your grievances anymore, like you could in the good old days, and also they screw people through algorithms. If you make more than 2 standalone videos a day, you're kind of fucking yourself in the ass. I have to fuck myself once in a while. Well, YouTube fucks me for me because of my literary updates. Anyway, what happened is that at this Wii Spa, there's actually a YouTube video where a woman's specifically talking about this. Apparently a dude with a beard just walked in, got naked, dick dangling out and everything in front of her and her underage daughter. Now, in the past, this would have been considered indecent exposure. It would have been considered, you know, exposing yourself to kids, G.G. Allen's song aside, is generally frowned upon in culture. In fact, it is illegal. And dudes walking into the girls' locker room or into the girls' spa room or whatever is considered indecent. It's not a thing that you're supposed to do. The problem is, and this is a problem that I predicted would occur, exactly what's happening now, years ago. I had a video on it, in fact it's probably still up. What I said is the problem with the transgender thing is not fundamentally about people who genuinely feel like they're the opposite gender. They take hormones and they're actually engaging in gender stereotypes, usually by dressing very much like a male to female transgendered person. Quite often you'll find hyper-femininity in the way that they dress. The same is true in reverse, female to male, and wearing like leather and going biking and shit. We've seen this. That's not mainly the problem. Really, the person presenting, even getting gender reassignment surgery and stuff, doing whatever they can to be of the other gender. Chromosomes aside, of course, it's a different issue, and I've never had a problem with that. I've known people that were transgendered. I don't care. That being said, the real problem boils down to people that will take advantage of the fact that you're attempting to create equal spaces for those people that aren't actually transgendered at all. This is some bearded pervert walks into the spa because he wanted to get a stiffy in front of a little girl. This is a pedophile, arguably, so probably a breadliner. And now you've got Antifa literally rioting in the general area, talking about fascism. Well, you're fascist if you don't want dicks in the pool, basically. A man, an individual who apparently is not making any real attempt to be transgendered, a male individual walked into a space where there were females, underage females, and got naked. That's not acceptable. It is a war on women. It's an attempt to erase the basic concept of women, and what's happened is you've got a federal government hostile to the concept that men and women even exist. We've had a government in the United States for decades now that was hostile towards male spaces. You look at the Boy Scouts getting erased, the Girl Scouts still existing, although now, I guess because of things like this, there's no Girl Scouts anymore either. You've gotten to the point where people want to blur the lines between the genders to the point where even transgenderism really wouldn't matter, right? Well, gender doesn't exist. It's so completely malleable and nonsensical. Non-defining is a term under the auspices of the system that appears to be employed by far leftists, at least, that you wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't even be meaningful. Literally, gender would no longer even have any comprehensive meaning. The problem, therefore, that I identified years ago when this sort of thing began is not about even individuals that are transgendered. Someone is like, hey, I was born with a cock and a Y chromosome, but genuinely, psychologically, I feel female. So I inject estrogen. Maybe I had gender reassignment surgery, maybe I didn't. I'm dressing in skirts and stuff. That person's not trying to be perverted. That person, maybe you can say, if you believe this, that there's some psychological imbalance, but they're not trying to be a bad person. They're not predatory or anything. Meanwhile, though, you get bearded dude who wanders into the spa with his cock out, clearly in a crude manner, presumably. And then you've got leftoids shrieking about pointing out how problematic that is fascist. Well, it's not fascism. It's people expecting that they have a space to go where they're not going to be sexually predated upon. That's all. I think people have the right to association, yes. People have the right to have a male-only or a female-only space. People who are blurring the lines between those two spaces aren't in and of themselves necessarily the problem. It's people who take advantage of that blurring, like this individual, who is presumably not transgendered. It's presumably just a dude who's a pervert, possibly a child molester or something. There's the problem. There's your issue. Antifa, though, Antifa has made it clear, and similar fringe leftoid groups, they don't care about anybody. They're a bunch of commies. They want most of the world's population to be gulagged. So if you think this is about fighting fascism, if you think that having a girls-only spa area where no cocks are allowed is a form of fascism, that speaks for itself. You're just a lunatic at that point. I find it hilarious. Now, again, this goes to a wider, I think, cultural struggle. And what I find funny is how for years and years, and for a while at least in the moralist days, back in the 90s or whatever, back when Bill O'Reilly was on TV, maybe this was true. I always heard leftoids complain about the war on women. Well, right-wingers want to take away your abortion rights and keep you pregnant in the kitchen and be uneducated and stuff. They want you to be basically like, 1930s or something. But the real war on women has actually erupted now, and it's coming straight out of the far left field. They're trying to erase the concept of women entirely. And I hope that female voters are going to take this into consideration. Keep in mind, while this is not the entire Democratic Party, not even a majority of them, there are people currently taxpayer-funded in Congress from certain leftist districts that agree with this. To be clear, they do want cocks in the girls' spa. Yes, they want cocks around your daughters when they're in school in the locker room. Because they're freaks of nature with no cohesive worldview and no common sense. They've been they believe in shit like critical race theory, openly and avowedly influenced by Marxism. Something that CNN won't tell their audience. Something MSNBC conspicuously never mentions. These people are communoids. They're leftoids. They're a bunch of grifters and losers. And yes, some of them are perverts. Probably, some of the breadliners, probably they just want the opportunity to be able to go into the girls' locker room. I think they would have a great time there. Nobody would notice. They'd probably think it was a vagina because it'd be like, oh, you got a beard. You have some sort of hormonal disorder. You've got a beard, a soy beard, of course, but no cock. What gives? We thought we were going to have a good time and shit. That's about all. Peace out.